Second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
English, mother...
Body, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
Let's put a smile on that face.
What's up, film family? Welcome back to the Film Room Podcast. My name is Scott.
I'm Dion.
And today we're doing the brand new sequel, Joker Folie Deux. But before we get into that, Dion, I don't know if you know this, but I wanted to give someone a shout out. And like last week, we did the shout out for the review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
This is kind of a review, but it's not on Apple Podcasts. But it's our boy Brandon Luzada on Instagram.
Okay.
So he commented on one of our posts saying, "Love y'all approach to film discussion. Keep it up, fellas. Y'all have a fan in me. I'll be tuned in, gentlemen." And I just wanted to give him a shout out.
That's what's up.
It's not a review, but still some kind words. I appreciate that.
Okay. Do you know him or no?
No. I didn't.
Oh, okay. You said our boy, so I thought I was like,
he's our boy now.
Okay, he's our boy. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
No,
he's our boy now.
Yeah,
and
okay, all right, yeah.
That's a certified Hollywood homie to me.
For sure. I'm down with that.
All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Brandon. Just the kind words. Appreciate getting that. Just feels good,
Yeah, it doesn't matter where we get it. It could be Instagram, TikTok, YouTube comments. You know what I mean? If we see you giving love, we'll give some some love back.
Exactly. So Joker 2, Folie Deux. This is coming off of Megalopolis, which we just did last week.
Yeah.
A film that did not get great reviews or well received. We didn't particularly enjoy it. Yeah. This movie also was not super well received. But what did you think?
I liked it. I didn't love it. Like I think it's a step down from the last one, but I actually liked it. I definitely have a lot of opinions on it. Mm-hmm. I'm someone that I think like I don't think an artist should ever, when they're making their own piece of art, they should go into thinking like, oh, I'm going to make this thing so that they like it, versus like, well, I have a vision for how I want to do something, so I'm going to do it this way. But I think the situation is a little different because you're dealing with an IP and it's not your own character. So that makes it a little bit different. You know, it's not like Tarantino making up his own characters where he's just doing whatever he wants. Like you're using an existing character. So that's where my mixed feelings comes from with that. But what about you?
Yeah, I liked it a lot as well. Honestly, like I you're right. I don't think it's as good as the first one. And I actually think I figured out why it's been negatively received and people don't like it too much. And I'm not going to necessarily blame people. I'm going to save it to the end because it's that's when we get there. I don't want to.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're going to spoil it anyways, but I don't want to spoil as
I know what you mean
at this point of the episode. But yeah, I liked it a lot. Honestly, there was, like I said, and you said, not as good as the first because I feel like a little bit less happened.
Yeah.
Like the first one was a little more exciting because there was just we were diving deep into his character, but there was also a lot of things happening. This one, there's a lot less happening, but it's a lot about the relationship with him and Harley. But I liked it.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that too, because I figured my first question was going to be for you is like, what is your thoughts on musicals? And clearly, if you said you really liked it, then you're not someone that hates musicals.
No, I mean, I thought it was cool actually the way they structured kind of the music that they did in this movie, because I feel like every time there was a song, whether it was just him or him and Harley, based on the first song, and I'll explain when we get to there what I mean, but they basically make it clear that when he's in these songs or when these songs are happening, it's in his mind and how he's reacting to what just happened in the plot, right? Like something will happen, like there'll be an interview with a witness in the trial, or there'll be something happens in the story, and then there will be a song, and that will relate to how he's feeling about what just happened. So I thought that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I agree, and like I have a lot of points on like the structure of the song and stuff like that. But no, I completely agree with like the way what you're saying with that, because I feel like And I feel like there's different types of musicals. The way they have like their songs broken down, it's either like they make it fit into the story, and then sometimes things do fit into the story, but there's the when they just break out into like these giant dance numbers, and then everyone
Yeah.
around them's in it too. These
Yeah.
ones are very contained. It's usually only just them. You know what I mean? It's not like suddenly they're like start singing, and then everyone else in the background's like in it with them. There's a couple like singing things that happen throughout the movie with other people, but they don't always turn into this collaborative thing, which I don't have a problem with. But there's definitely those two different type of styles of how they handle musicals, where it's like
Yeah, I guess
it
the
stays
biggest
contained.
Yeah, the biggest way I think that it was like the other way in this movie was when he's in the courtroom and
Yeah.
he's singing "The Joker is me," and then he's
Yeah.
like, he's bashing people and shooting people, and like it's all in his head, but
Yeah.
that's to the most extent where there's other people involved in the song. Other than that, it's mostly just him or him and Harley.
What I mean by involved is, I mean, like, it's not like he
A
was
big
singing and then
dance
people were
number.
singing and singing,
Yeah.
people singing back to him. You know what I mean? It's not like Harvey was
okay.
singing and the judge was singing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's what I mean, where it becomes like a collective, like, because like I actually like a lot of people, because I live in Brampton, a lot of people put me onto Bollywood movies, and that happens a lot in Bollywood movies. Like, I've watched some really solid movies, but then they sometimes they do the one-on-one where it's just the two characters singing, and then sometimes like everybody in the scene just starts getting into it. Which, hey, sometimes the songs can be fire, and I like it.
Yeah.
Some of there's actually two movies that I've watched that are like on like my all-time list now. They're these two Bollywood movies I watched, and I like musicals, so I don't have
Wow,
any issue
okay.
with dance numbers. Yeah, I'll tell you about them. You should check them out.
All right, yeah.
And if you
sounds
like
good.
it, then maybe we'll do a pod on it. We'll be big in
Sure. Bollywood? Yeah, hell yeah.
yeah.
Why not? What'd you think of? I wanted to ask you, what'd you think of Lady Gaga and Harley? Her addition to the
yeah,
story.
true. Because before we were talking about like how, well, I was asking, like, I was curious to see how she do the character, and I thought it was
Right.
kind of interesting. It was a different dynamic that we usually see between like Joker and Harley. You know what I mean? It's usually like Joker's top dog and she's kind of the sidekick kind of thing, right? They were almost somewhat equals. If anything, she was kind of like above him a little bit in their relationship. If you know what I mean, like the dynamic wasn't so much like, well, she was definitely like a fan of his, but it kind of felt like there was like even playing ground of just like, I don't want to say like a dominance in the relationship.
Yeah.
But it didn't very
No, I
much
see what
feel
you're
like she
saying.
was like, she just wanted to tag along with him no matter what kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, it
she
didn't
had her
feel
own
like he was wearing
backbone.
the pants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like she had her own motivations and she was doing her own thing. And it was a lot of what she did kind of was for him,
Yeah.
that we see at least. But I thought she was really cool. I thought she could have been a bit more. There could have been a bit more with her. They could have done
Yeah.
a little bit more, like there. A lot of it is just her sitting in the courtroom and seeing how, her reaction to how things are happening for him.
Yeah.
And she doesn't actually do a whole lot. We see her react when she gets mad at the lawyer and stuff like that, but she doesn't really do a ton. So I thought it
Yeah.
was kind of a missed opportunity for like such a big character like that, and
for
especially later in the movie. Well, I'll just mention right now, spoiler warning.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna mention a big spoiler right here. So if you haven't seen it, turn it off. When the courtroom explodes
Yeah.
and then he escapes, I was like, okay, here we go. Like he's
Yeah.
out and he's gonna meet up with Harley, and then she kind of just dumps him and leaves him. I was like, I kind
Yeah,
of
I
wanted
know.
more.
Yeah. That was one of my my drawbacks too. And I feel like we also didn't get, like, I remember in the first one where it was like we were waiting for that build up for him to turn into the Joker kind of thing. I never really felt like we got the true Harley. Like, there's a point where she dressed up, she put the makeup on. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, now she's kind of like Harley, and then it was kind of, that was it though. We didn't really get them both as like Harley, and besides like in their fantasies, we never really got like,
Yeah. No, you're right. It always,
form.
yeah. No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I just feel like we could have got a little more. Like I
Yeah.
thought she was good, but I thought we just for the character in the story, I feel like she just didn't have that much of a role. And to be a co-star, she's on the poster. She's on her name is just as big as Joaquin Phoenix is in all the advertising. I was like, I was expecting more from her. Not
Yeah.
Lady Gaga herself. I thought she was actually really good, but
I think so
for
too,
the
yeah.
character.
It actually got me interested because I know she's in A Star Is Born in the House of Gucci movie. I'm kind of curious how her acting is in that, because like I've never seen her act before. and I didn't think
No.
she was bad. I didn't think she was bad in this. So,
No, I
and
thought she
she's
was
like,
really good.
yeah, for someone that doesn't have an act, like you don't have an acting background, like you're a musician first. So, well, actually, I don't actually know if she has. Maybe she does have an acting background. I don't know. Maybe she took drama in school or something.
Yeah, I don't know either. I
But
mean, she blew up as a musician.
yeah, exactly. So,
But
but yeah.
I'll mention one of my facts now is that
Okay,
actually
go.
because we're talking about her. So Lady Gaga, she said when she was singing, like doing the songs, she had to like breathe different. Like she had to purposely kind of step back and be less professional, I guess, because when she's performing on stage, like she has this perfect cadence or whatever, and this way
Oh,
of
okay.
breathing, very controlled breathing that she says keeps her on pitch or whatever. But she's like
Mhm.
Harley wouldn't know how to do that, so she had to like
Oh,
change
okay.
it up and sing a little bit differently. And everyone said she was like method acting. She told people like call her Lee on set and everything. So she went
Yeah.
full into it.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's interesting. I saw one thing too is like to go off of your fact with that because I guess not a lot of times people actually are singing like on, but I guess there's two different ways I guess of doing music. Sometimes they kind of lip sync, they don't go all out when they're actually doing the performance, and then they'll just record over it like the full
Yeah.
thing. But apparently they were going all out. I'm sure they added some extra like audio stuff and probably did some over recording, but they were going all out. And I remember Joaquin saying he was nervous. He's like having to sing in front of her, like she's
Yeah.
actually singing, and which I don't know why. I thought this was another like Troy Bolton situation. I didn't actually know if he was singing or not, but apparently he's actually singing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it sounds like his voice. It sounds
Yeah,
like it's him singing, and I think he's pretty good, honestly. Like, as
no,
for
for sure.
obviously Lady Gaga's a pro, but like, and like I said, she's trying to bring herself down. So maybe
Yeah.
if she wanted to, she could have mopped the floor with him. But
Oh yeah,
I
if
don't know.
she
I
wanted
thought it was
to,
pretty solid. Yeah,
she
that's it.
definitely could have. She definitely could have. Everyone been like, "Okay, we see you, Gaga."
We see you, Gaga. All right. If you don't have anything else, should we jump right in?
I got one more thing because,
Okay.
like, not to be like a whole thing talking about. I mean, we're gonna talk about the movie and probably talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
why people don't like things. But my thing with I went on like a search of this of like watching musicals like that, like trailers and stuff like that, just to see how like, they kind of market it. You know what I mean? And if you watch the trailer for Joker, even though this movie has been for the last year talked about how like this is going to be a musical, they don't really promote it like it is a musical. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you watch a trailer, like if anyone pops up a trailer right now, go on YouTube, pause the podcast, come back, we watch the trailer. They don't. There's no singing in it. Like they're talking. You see the really intense shots. And if you're someone that's maybe I don't know, you're not looking into these things, you can be fooled into not knowing this is a musical. I think that's on you. You should maybe just do a quick Google search. I don't know it, but it's not really marketed as a movie. You don't see sing that. There's no. You don't see them singing or anything. You just
Yeah.
see these intense shots and then them talking over the trailer, and then it
Yeah.
just. So
No,
I
you're
find it
right.
interesting that they don't market it that way
Yeah, I don't
because
know.
I watched the trailer for the Wicked movie that's coming out too, and they did the same thing too. Really, there's no, even though that's notoriously a musical, they
Right.
don't market it that way, and it's kind of like it's weird. Like it almost seems misleading.
That's the one with Ariana Grande you're talking about, right?
Yeah, it's
Did they not
like the
sing at all in
prequel
that
to
one?
Wizard of Oz. Not in the trailer, no. At
Oh,
least
okay.
not the ones I've seen.
Okay.
But if you know Wicked, you should know that
Yeah.
it's a musical. But they don't really promote it that way. You just think it's just like a witch movie or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
But
I mean, I feel like
I don't know.
you're right. It's a musical in theory, like by definition, I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel like it doesn't see itself as a musical because if you have the movie on its own, you don't necessarily, if you cut all of those music scenes out, the movie would still like make sense and make, you know
That's
what I mean?
true.
Like there's no exposition in the songs. Like they're not explaining anything through a song. I feel like that's kind of what a musical is. Like they're kind of
Mhm.
like in the songs in this movie, it's about their feelings and how they feel,
Yeah.
but it doesn't actually affect what's happening in the plot. So
That's
I feel
true.
like an actual musical, like you would have to listen to the songs and listen to the words to understand what's going on. Maybe I'm not a big musical guy either, so I don't even know. But
Okay, yeah. I'm thinking of the first thing I'm thinking is High School Musical. I'm trying to think. I'm like, could you go without some of those songs in there?
I haven't watched that in
Honestly,
a million years, so I don't know.
most I not when you say that though, I'm thinking I think most musicals are just their feelings. Like I'm
Maybe you're
thinking
right.
of
I
Get Your
could be
Head in the
wrong.
Game. I'm thinking of I Don't Dance. You, you know what I mean? Like he's a song called Scream. The Boys Are Back. Like these are all just emotions.
What do you
They're
mean,
not
bro?
like
If you didn't hear him get his head in the game, how would you know he was gonna start? He would just start hooping. Nah, you need to know that he's getting his head in the game.
I guess that's true. It is like a montage. Yeah. Like if you take that montage, you'd be like, wait, how's
What
your
happened in
head's
the
in the game
game?
now?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. You're right. You're right. And the
All right.
opening scene of High School Musical 3 is literally a song. It's the game. They're singing in the game. So if you take that out, there's no game. So you're right. Never mind.
I'm telling you.
I
Yeah.
retract. Cut
Yeah.
this out of the
All right.
podcast.
All right. Bet. So we open up with this animated short. I didn't
Yeah.
know that this was gonna happen.
Neither did
I
I.
wasn't sure if it was like another preview, but it was clearly Joker. And then like as it progressed, I was like, okay, no, this is the
Yeah.
start of the movie. But like, it's introducing the split personality idea. You know that it was Joker that did those killings and not him.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
I thought it was pretty interesting. At first I didn't know what to make of it because I didn't know if this was something I should keep in my mind as the movie went on, or if this is like, oh, when the end of the movie comes, then it's gonna make sense kind of thing. But then, like you said, the whole theme was talking about this whole split personality thing. So I guess they just wanted to give a little like cute animation, which I thought was cool. It looks cool. It's
Mhm.
different. Not used to seeing
Yeah.
that at the beginning of a movie like that.
No, exactly. And like I said, I wasn't expecting it. So it was just kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, cool. This is a cool little introduction, you know, jump us
No, for
right
sure.
back into the end of the last movie, which I like from sequels because
Yeah.
not everyone's going to, like, we just watched Joker because we did a podcast on it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you didn't see the first one for a couple of years or, you know, however long, at least that's a reminder of what happened on the Murray show and
Yeah.
kind of how that one ended. So I thought it was cool.
No, I did too. No, I really enjoyed it.
Then we're in the asylum and we see him like talking, meet his lawyer. He's talking with another lawyer, kind of with just the whole setup of him in the asylum. What did you think of the first shots in the asylum?
It was interesting. Like, yeah, they're just trying to get his story straight. Like when they're at least like that was the main thing I wanted to like talk about. Just like them going back and forth trying to get his story straight. And that's when you said like they go right into talking about like, oh, you're not the same as Joker. And I mean, I guess
Yeah.
we can. Do you think it's like a because they never really made it like because I guess when we watch like the cartoons or like Dark Knight or any of the other stuff, we never see Arthur. We only ever see the
Mhm.
Joker, so we never really got to like think of it as like, oh, these are two different people. Like
Right.
at night he's the Joker, during the day he's Clark. Like it's not like a Clark Kent Superman
Yeah.
kind of thing.
All he does is take his glasses off and he's Joker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you
No,
know what I
I,
mean? So, like,
I don't think it's a split personality. I think he's that same guy, but
yeah,
the only people that he kills in the first one are people that are bad to him. So he's like, if you're not an asshole to me, I'm not going to kill you. But
yeah,
if you're an asshole to me, then I will. You know, and that's just who he
Yeah.
is. And those people in the first movie drove him to that point, and that's why he did those kills.
Mhm.
And you know, I feel like maybe after we talked about it in that episode, but you know, all the bad stuff that was happening to him was just pushing him further and further into that insanity, and then he wasn't taking his medication, so like all this stuff piled up is what led him to do that. But I don't think it was like a break where he became two people.
No, for sure. Though honestly, the way I saw this movie going, like the way they were treating them in the like asylum, whatever, I didn't know if they were gonna go the whole like what's it called when you get what's the thing when they stick the thing in you to take the brain parts of the brain out? What is that called? Oh, no, lobotomy.
Lobotomy.
I don't know if it was gonna. It was like lobotomy. Yeah, I didn't know if it was gonna be like one of those kind of situations because like I feel like he was very purposeful showing them like the conditions because it could have been like the conditions could have been like something decent. You know what I mean? Like they don't treat them like terribly, but they're all like just being heavily medicated and they're kind of just like zombies or whatever. But I think he purposely showed it being like dirty and like they don't get treated like great here. And like I don't
Yeah.
know necessarily know if they're all criminals. Some of them are criminals, or some of them are just.
I think they all are
They all are criminals?
I think so because it's like a detention center. It's not just a mental hospital.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Right, like they're all
That's true.
locked up and everything. Because there's also the different wings. You know, when he goes to the singing class. It's the minor security wing. So he's, I guess, in the max security wing. So I think it's more like a prison. So I think they're all criminals.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Well, what did you think?
Well, the first thing that I noticed was that he lost the weight again. I remember we asked that on the first one. He was
Oh,
like, I
yeah.
guess he probably will. That he right away takes his shirt off. I was like, damn, he
Oh
looks
my
even
gosh,
skinnier.
yeah, it looked worse. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was thinking too. I was like, oh god, it looks even worse. Like I don't know what it was, like just part of his back, like his ribs or back, like
His
just sticking up. I
shoulders
was like,
sticking
oh
out, and
man,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
He's like, I need
pretty,
to top
it's
myself.
nasty.
No, it really is nasty.
But that's the only time we
to
see
go
it.
on your point, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, it was just that opening scene. So
Yeah,
who knows? I was gonna say who knows. Maybe he that was like a shot from the past, but nah, he's skinny throughout the whole movie.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Go
but
ahead. You were going
to
to say
go on
something?
to your point, no, I was gonna say to get on your first point, we get like kind of like that first song, which I can't remember the name of the song or whatever it was, but I thought it was cool how it was on brand with like the first song. It was the first one was just in his head, so it was like a
Yeah,
fantasy. Because I was wondering, like you were like as we were talking earlier, like I was wondering what their approach to these songs were going to be. They kind of bounce around. Like some of the things, it's like that was just in the head, and some of them are actually it's just the two of them singing, and then obviously like then it's kind of like a fantasy of like when they have like they're on stages and stuff like that. But sometimes they're just singing in front of each other like in real life.
yeah,
And even sometimes of those, I question those. These are like it's like when you're watching these kind of movies, it's like you're always wondering, like, is this real? Is this actually
exactly.
happening?
Yeah,
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 and not
definitely.
like in an annoying way. Not like in an annoying way. You just like it just keeps you on your toes a little bit because it's like, should I be taking this information as like valid or am I just being tricked? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. I enjoy that too because I feel like it's like you said, it just keeps you on your toes. I think, and I like that in a
Yeah,
movie, especially a movie like this that rated R. I'm coming in with
yeah,
expectations of not knowing exactly what's going to happen next, and there's going to be suspense and things that pop off. So I don't want to know exactly what's around the corner every time. So I enjoy that in this movie.
no,
There
exactly.
was there was one shot that I wanted to shout out. It was through the door, like when he goes into his room and then they
Oh,
close
I
the
know what you're
door and
talking
then the
about.
lights turn off and he's
Yeah,
like smoking a cigarette and there's a little bit of light through the window. I thought that was super sick.
yeah. No, that is a really cool shot. No, yeah, I agree too.
I
Well,
just
what
wanted
do
to
you
give
think of
that
their
quick shout
first like
out.
inter? Yeah, no, so I like that scene too. What did you think of like their first like interaction?
Yeah, that's where I was
Like
gonna
he
get
sees
to
her
next.
like
Is what
sing.
he meets
Okay,
her.
yeah,
He meets her at the singing class. Really, my first
yeah,
thoughts on their first interaction was just that Lady Gaga is like killing it. Like I thought she was
yeah,
really good. Just their back and forth. I thought their chemistry was really good. There was a little bit of singing right in that spot too, and they started off with that, which I really liked. And I didn't love her like origin story, I guess. Where she was like,
hmm,
"Oh, I got in here because I'm from the same neighborhood as you, and my dad's
yeah,
dead." And I was like, "Oh, she's literally the exact same as him. That's kind of lame."
yeah.
And I mean, we find out later that it's revealed it's not true. So I was like, "Okay, that makes up for it, I guess." But like when I heard it right then, I was like, that's kind of lame."
Yeah, no, it was in that moment too because that's what I was saying. I find it interesting the dynamic that they built between the two of them because we thought going in. I remember I think we talked about in the Joker episode because we thought it was gonna be the whole therapist thing. Like that's usually
Yeah,
how they've done it in. I think they've done it in two movies like that in Suicide Squad and they did it in the Batman Beyond, not Batman Beyond, like the Keaton one. They did it like
yeah,
that
yeah,
where it's and I think that's just usually how it is. I think that's just usually is her background story. Like she was his therapist and then she just flipped. So I thought
hmm
it was interesting that she was already in there. So at that point I was like, oh, like how is this going? Like I don't know. But then she says, and then obviously we find out later that she lied, but
yeah, yeah. I mean, we find out that she is a psychiatrist, so at least that part they
yeah.
kept, I guess, true to the source material. But you're right. That's what I
Yeah.
expected. So when I saw her in the class, I was like, oh, she's just there. And then she stares at him right away. I was like, okay, so she knows who he is. And, we find out
Yeah.
she's just enamored with him and wanted to meet him and everything like that. And that's kind of like what we talked about earlier, where Harley's like the sidekick. So that part, I guess, is kind of that same instance. She just really is taken by this guy. Like she saw what he did on TV. Is like, I got to meet this guy. He is who I am.
Yeah, no, and I I didn't have an issue with that either too. Like I was thinking about like as it keeps going on, we found more. But at the time, I was kind of like, oh, that's different. That's not usually how they do it. But I was like, okay, well, I'm open. I'm like, let's see, because again, I like we talked about the whole source material thing, but it's like we know from comic books that there's so many of these different universes and dimensions that like even if something changes in someone's backstory, I think comic book fans are like, yeah, whatever. You just accept it because it's like things change all the time. You know what I mean? It's whatever.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. I wasn't mad about it. I just thought it was
Yeah, I
lame that it
didn't
was the
care.
exact same as Arthur. I was like,
Yeah.
they could have come up with something a little bit different.
Yeah.
But
No, for
I mean,
no, that's true.
if that's her lie, then that's what it is. And like I said, later on when I
Yeah,
found
no,
out it wasn't
exactly.
real, I was like, okay, that's fine. Then we
Yeah,
find
exactly.
out that they're going for the death penalty, and this is when the guard, he says they're gonna fry you. How does that make you feel? And then he starts singing, and he's dancing, and it's like a happy dance. So I was so
Yeah.
this is his reaction to what he just saw, saying that they're going for the death penalty on him. I thought that this song means like he's excited. He's like, oh, death and just all this craziness. All this is I love this shit. This is what's funny to him, right? So he gets excited and
Yeah.
he does the dance, and then we find out after that it's not real. And so we're like, okay, so all these songs are just in his head. It establishes that right away. But what'd you think of the like first song?
Yeah, and like I guess I jumped ahead, but
Oh, right. That's what
I realized I
you're
jumped
already
ahead when I was
mentioning.
saying
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that was the one I was talking about where I was saying I thought it was interesting how it's like, yeah, I was curious to see how they're gonna go with the songs, and I was like, okay, sometimes it's gonna be fantasy, sometimes it's gonna be real,
Right.
and no, I liked it. I liked how they did it like that.
Yeah. No, I thought it was cool too.
Was it Harvey Dent? Was it Harvey Dent the one that was on on the news saying they were giving
Yeah.
the death penalty?
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting too, because where you hear that name and you're just like immediately you start thinking of like Dark Knight or something like that. I'm like, you're trying to connect. I'm like, how long has Harvey Dent been around for? Like you're trying to tie these different movies, but they have nothing to
Yeah.
do with each other. But I'm like,
I
he
think
looked
that,
hella
they're
young
not the
though.
same. Yeah, he looked young. I mean,
It's not this.
you're right. He's not, well, he's a DA at least, so he's already at that level,
Yeah, but how
but he
old
does
was
look
he in
young.
like? Because because that's supposed to be the '80s, and then Dark Knight was supposed to be present times, which was like the 2008 or something. So I'm like, how old was he then? He did look all this just significantly older. I'm like, is that 30 years older? But again,
I
my
just think
mind's trying
it's,
to connect these things,
yeah, I think
but
it's just
they're
two
not
different
connected.
movies. And like you said, in comic books, they're two different universes and they're not at all related. So I just don't think it
Yeah,
matters.
no, for sure. I know that I just get I read some of the fan theory things sometimes. Like
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
on Reddit like scrolling, but like sometimes I'll see like a little post, someone be like, "Oh, Harvey Dent, like this is the same Harvey Dent that was the Heath." I'm like,
Right.
okay, guys, chill out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I don't think it
but
is. I
sometimes I
don't think it
read
is.
those. Yeah, no, I don't think it is either. But it's fun sometimes to imagine.
So that there's like a quick little like book signing with the guy with the guard that
Mhm.
wants him to sign his book, and he starts writing
Yeah.
like have a or put a smile on or whatever, and he's like, it's gonna be
Oh
worth a
yeah.
fortune after they fry him. I was like, bro, what are you doing? He's right
Yeah,
beside
I
you,
know.
like in your ear. You know he's crazy. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know.
I
Shout
just
out
had to
Tim
mention
Dillon.
that.
Yeah, that's a comedian. I don't know if you recognize him.
Okay, he
Yeah, no,
looked familiar.
that's a funny part. Yeah, no, when I saw it too, I was like, he looks familiar. And I looked up, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Tim Dillon. Yeah.
Okay. So then we get the movie scene when they're watching a movie and she lights the piano on fire. What'd you think of that?
I thought it was interesting. Like I thought it was funny too, because it's just like the guards were so enamored by just watching the film. They didn't notice her just walk up. And I guess they don't I mean it's the 80s. I guess they don't care if they just get up and just smoke. But
Mm-hmm.
smoking in the building, I guess I don't know. I guess because they know the truth about her. Because maybe if it was someone else, they'd be like, "Hey, what the heck are you doing?" But they're like, they know that she committed herself. So I was like, whatever, let her do. But yeah, that was just my one thing. I thought it was kind of wild how she just got up. It's not my Ferris Bueller or anything, but
Right.
I thought it was
Yeah.
just wild. I thought it was wild how she just got up and just smoked and then did it and then sat back down. And the guards were just so enamored into the movie.
Yeah, it was the fire got pretty big before anybody noticed.
That's
And honestly, the biggest thing that cheesed me is this isn't my Ferris either, but I was like,
yeah.
no one even tried to put the fire out. They all just immediately left the room. Like if they did try to get a fire extinguisher or something, like no one even tried. They all just
Yeah, that's a good
immediately
point.
bounced.
And then the fire ended up taking out like the whole building, basically.
know.
I'm like, how did it get this bad? It was just the room a second ago.
Instantly, because then they go out. She pulls him out, and they go down this other hallway. There's smoke everywhere. I'm like, this is is this building made out of matches? Like, how is it? And has it rained in 6 years in Gotham? Like, how is it so dry and this shit is lighting so fast?
Oh my god, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. What did you think of it?
Well, I thought it was cool. Like yeah, it was a.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I thought honestly when it happened, I was like, oh shit, they're about to escape. This is great. Like the movies, like we're about to get going. They're going to escape, and there's about to be some craziness. And then they kind of like they dance in the spotlight, and I was like, how are they? Are they're not going to get captured? They must get captured here. And then
Yeah.
they're still behind the fence. I was like, oh, okay, this is not an escape. This was just, I don't know, something exciting and fun that they wanted to do. But
Ye-
after, like now knowing that she admitted herself and she's rich and like, I don't know if she just paid to be there or how it all works out. But after you light a piano on fire and start a whole thing, would they not just like kick you out? There's no way they'd just be like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like once, yeah, again, once we find out, you start going back and it's just like, wait, what? Like, yeah, even if you know she's like, well, she committed herself. She still started the fire with this guy. Like, why are we gonna let her? And then let him see him from time to time too. It's just like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this is what like literally the next thing that happens is that he's in like solitary because he tries to escape, so they throw him in solitary, and then she shows up and she's like, "Oh, they let me see her. They let me come and see you before I'm leaving." I was like, "What the fuck? Why?"
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I was like, I was like, why would they let her do this? She just started the fire, led this guy to do this almost escape. Why the fuck are you letting her in the room with this guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking the exact same thing too. She kind of alludes to like, she's like, they let me do whatever they'll let me. Oh no, she said I'll do anything for you. It's like I don't know if she paid the guard. I don't know if she smashed the guard. Like I don't know what she was alluding to that. But if he just let her in straight up, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that confused me. But then they smash, and he's like from. I was like, is he a virgin? He's always been
he's gotta be.
Socially awkward, right? And he's got to be.
Yeah, he's got to be. Maybe in his head he's not. He's probably made something like Sophie was in the first fantasy. I'm sure,
right?
So I'm sure there's. I mean, maybe who knows? I don't know. But
well, I mean, he only gives her 3 pumps.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in his head, he was like, "Man, I beat that shit up." That was.
Oh yeah. I was that shit. Yeah, part of me wasn't even sure if that shit was real, bro. I was like, nah, no way.
True.
Arthur, he deserves it. He's been through a lot, but I don't know.
Does he?
I don't know if he's gonna get. What does he deserve it?
What? What did he do to deserve it?
I don't know.
Kill people?
He's down bad, yo. Just give a dog a bone, bro. What are you talking about?
Okay, fair enough. I'm not gonna cock block you, right? Arthur,
yeah, what are you talking about, bro?
I didn't say I'm mad about it. I'm just saying I don't know if I'd say he deserves it.
No, that's just his bit. You know, you get what you deserve. So I just wanted to throw that deserve.
Oh,
in there,
fair.
You know?
Yeah, fair enough.
Get what you deserve, yo. He deserves it.
Yeah, fair enough. You're right.
He did the crime, and she saw it on TV, so he's like, "Hey, this is what I deserve."
Hey, and every girl loves a bad boy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, good point.
That's what I'm saying.
Good point. Then there's the interview with Patty. What'd you think of that?
Oh, I thought it was kind of interesting. I don't know why his lawyer would even agree to the interview. Like they've done so, like they had that initial thing where he was kind of going like reviewing the killings, and she got constantly to remind him, remember, you're not the Joker, you're Arthur. And at that point, you're still telling him that before the interview. Like you should have realized, like maybe like hours before. It's like, maybe we shouldn't do this, or days before. I just don't know. Like he's not sane. Like I don't understand why you would. Like, why would they? Who benefits from this interview?
I think
because you have a trained like interviewer who definitely has a narrative he's trying to push.
Yeah,
against this guy that is very socially awkward.
I think the point is, like you said, he's not sane, and that's what they're trying to get across. They're trying to get like the insanity plea in the case, right? So even if she throws him out there, and he just goes fucking nuts, that also helps the case, even though it's not good publicity necessarily for him. It would show that he's crazy, and I mean, she even says before, she's like, we're trying to, like you said, get them to realize you're Arthur. That was Joker. That's a totally different person. That was a psychotic episode. Just tell them that. And I guess she just had faith that he was going to do that. But right before he goes out, he kisses her and like goes over the line. So maybe she said, she's like, it's not too late to pull out, but she gives him the option.
Yeah, no, that's true. I thought the interview was interesting. It got me heated a little bit because I'm on Arthur's side. Yo. I like Arthur. We're watching the movie. We bond. I'm not saying he's a good guy or anything, but you know, you
I
feel
see what you're
bad for
saying.
him, especially because
Yeah.
we know what his background and everything. And the interviewer guy, he's giving him a hard time. It's just like the whole time I was like, this isn't working for Arthur. This is
You
not
know,
helping his case.
you know what I thought, and it's exactly what you're saying. Is that it was very similar to when he went on the Murray Show in the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like he's trying to be honest and say what he truly feels, and there's this guy across from him that's just trying to push this narrative and belittle him and make fun of him, basically. Like I thought it was the same kind of dynamic, and it's the same thing happens. He gets more and more pissed off, and then he gets, I mean, in this time he doesn't kill him or anything, but he starts singing. But it's the same, like he gets up and kicks the chair. I was like, oh shit, is he gonna throw hands or something? You know, it got me a little excited. But I just thought it was very similar to the Murray Show, just in that dynamic.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's why I was worried too. I was like, "Damn!" I didn't think he was gonna pop him or anything, but
Yeah,
I was just like, "Is he gonna get violent and then just not gonna end up being good in his favor?" I don't know if that interview was live or if that was like a tape, but
it was because he starts singing to
true, 'cause
Harley,
Harley.
and she
Yeah, that's
and then
true.
she
Yeah.
bashes the window and steals a TV.
Which that
And
was
there's
hilarious.
like
I
five
laughed at
people
that.
there
That was-
just like looking at her.
yeah. Which is funny too because we know that she's sane. So what was she's one as a memento? Sorry, I kept coughing.
Yeah,
As a memento.
I don't actually know, but because the thing is she sane? Like if she idolizes this guy, like just because she
true.
comes from money and wasn't from the same neighborhood and lied about that doesn't necessarily mean she's sane. That just means she lied about how she got into the hospital, that she admitted herself. But I mean, she has a degree in psychiatry, so maybe I don't know. I don't know if it's clear that she is sane.
I just mean sane to the point where you realize that just because he's singing you to on the TV, you don't need like stealing the TV doesn't mean you have him or anything. You know what I mean? You just have a
just want a
TV now.
Yeah,
You
she just wanted a TV.
Yeah, it's just an excuse to have a TV. You're right.
What did you say? She
You're
gets
right.
what she deserved it. She deserved it.
That's
I'm just gonna say that for everything now. No matter what happens, hey, they deserved it.
hey, she got what she deserved.
Exactly. Then we get to the day one of the trial, and the first person on the stand is the doctor saying that he is sane, and then the lawyer's going back. And what do you think of the trial initially?
Again, I didn't think the trial was going to be basically the whole movie, which the trial wasn't boring. Each time a new person came in, they gave a different perspective, and it was interesting because you never know what was going to happen. Day one was day one was light. You got the doctor, which he had no sympathy for Arthur. I'll call him Andrew Arthur at all. Where he's just like, I don't see anything that suggests that he has any split personalities. And the lawyer bodies him with not saying, "Oh, did you not ask him this? You didn't ask him." I thought it was a little cute how she's like, "Yeah, I talked to him for 2 hours. It was 89 minutes." I was like, okay, like that is a big roundup, though. That is a big
Exactly.
roundup. 30
that's
whole minutes is a
whole
pretty big
a whole half hour. That's exactly.
But what about the one thing too is Harvey Dent's smug ass was bothering the hell out of me. The whole movie, his smug ass, man.
Every time he just gets up, does up his button, and just like looks like he's better than everybody. He looked like a bitch, 100%. He's definitely one of those like Wall Street guys from the first one that Joker would have killed.
Oh, 100%.
Definitely stuck 100%. Up bitch. Yeah, he looks like a bitch.
What about you?
Yeah, you're right. The lawyer was kind of bodying the cross-examine, but she was also doing it by like bringing up all of his trauma, right? She's like, you didn't ask him about when his mom left him with an abuser, and you didn't ask him about this, and you didn't ask about, and then you see him reacting to that because she's just like bringing up all this old trauma. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I feel like that's realistic. Like one thing I really like about this movie, and these two movies, I guess, just the tone of the movies is how realistic they are. Like in the first one, the whole theme is that they're pushing that this could happen in real life. So like the fact that they continued in this, and I feel like it was really realistic, and that's something that I really enjoy about these movies. And you're right, like I didn't think that the trial would be as much of the movie, but I liked it. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
I thought maybe people found it boring, but I was locked in every time.
Yeah, and I feel like the trials they weren't like as we said, like they kind of blocked them up into separate days, but not all the time. Like, I think they skipped a day. Because I swear that, or at least I was, they didn't like show because some of them they're like trial day one, trial and then trial day three or whatever. But I do think they're interesting because like there definitely could have been a very like structured approach to the trials where it was like very just like the dialogue was very like dry. But like I said, every person that was on the stand was so different in personalities, and even as they got up there, like as we saw like this like the Sophies and then his therapist and like Gary, we all knew from the previous movie like what the relationship was. So you're kind of like, oh
Yeah.
shit, like what are they gonna say? Are they gonna like really fuck him up, or like how is he gonna react because he's there? Because as like you said, as he reacted to the doctor and going through the trauma, I was like, is this gonna be like a building, like him building to something, or some days he's gonna be happy? So like I was always interested, like each time they were in the trial. I didn't find them boring at all.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I was always locked in.
Yeah,
Then we get the lawyer telling him that Harley lied.
yeah,
And at first I was like, is it true? I was like, is the lawyer just lying to get Arthur to stay with her, like to not be pissed off, or like I wasn't sure if it was true or not. And then there's the song where he's like, where they're on the stage and him and Harley, and he's like, "Oh, you're making it all about you."
yeah. I thought it
What
was
you
pretty
what you
funny.
what do you think about that?
Yeah, and I thought that was funny. It's funny. I put in my notes as like we learned the truth about Harley Morant. I called her Harley Morant because she's from the she's middle class, but she wants to be hood so bad.
And then she pulls out the gun in
That's what I'm saying.
on the
Yeah.
song. Harley Morant. Nice.
But no, I liked the musical numbers. That was the one thing too. Like with this movie, again, yeah, musicals aren't for everybody, but I think the set pieces too. Like I wasn't sure that they were gonna go that route. Like I wasn't sure if a lot of the times whatever scene they're in, there's gonna be singing. But I thought it was kind of cool how they had the fantasy scenes where like there's these huge, they're on these big sets, and then they're just going out and then doing a little thing like that little talk show
Yeah.
kind of like performance that they did at the skinny mics and everything, and like kind of looked like they were. Yeah, I thought that stuff was really cool. I liked those the set pieces for those.
Yeah,
At
I
least
agree.
that specific one.
Yeah, they were cool. I think it's again just this is his mind, right? So like
Yeah.
he's seeing him and Harley as the stars of this show, right? So like
Yeah.
having like you said the stage and the microphone and just all these aspects of a show is
Mhm.
what he's visualizing. So I thought that was pretty cool. And this is the second time that it's his reaction, right? So he hears
Yeah.
about Harley. He's like, "Oh, she's lying to me." Then we get his reaction. He's not trusting her in the song, and then she shoots him. So in his head, he's like, "Okay, no, she's playing me like a fool." But I thought it was cool, and maybe people don't like it. Maybe don't. I don't know. I don't know exactly, but I liked it.
Well, I think the biggest thing. I mean, I think we could talk about the ending when we get to the ending, but I think the biggest thing I think is just the singing. Which is it's interesting to me because I know that like musicals aren't for everybody, but I guess just a lot of people that didn't want to see a musical, or maybe they're just like, okay, I heard this is a musical. Maybe there's not probably not going to be that much singing. I saw that there in total there was 15 songs in this, but I compared it to the first movie. I looked up to see that how many like musical numbers in the sense of like when he's in the bathroom doing like
Yeah.
I'm counting that. I'm counting him like dancing on the steps, or him just like him dancing to himself, or him just singing to himself. There was 8 scenes of that basically where there was some kind of musical thing versus having 15 actual songs in here, and it changes people's perspective dramatically apparently, because I don't think this was a bad movie.
Yeah.
Like it's just I just think people are just annoyed by the singing, which is just
That's a good point. Because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, this. It's like in the first one, it's the same thing, right? Something happens. He'll kill somebody, or he'll get a gun, or he'll get fired, and then there'll be him dancing by himself, or him singing to himself, or like, but he's all alone. but it's the same concept, right? In this one,
Yeah.
it's his what happens in his head. It's telling us how he feels, but it's in a song. So it's the same thing as the first one, but instead of him just dancing to some background music or doing something by himself, it's actually a song. But
Yeah.
I think the concept is the same as the first, and people love
No,
the
it really
first.
is. Yeah, it's the same tone. It really is the same tone. So I don't know.
I don't
The funny
know.
thing is,
Yeah.
this movie, like it's probably it'll still probably get nominated for some things. That's gonna make people even more angry because there's so many good aspects, like the cinematography. Just like I don't think it'll get some screenplay or anything like that, but
The
I feel like there's a lot
acting.
of the acting, yeah. Even like the like wardrobe, like they get nominated for a couple of things. Like I think even like a song. Actually, I don't know if any of the songs were original. I think there were all like a lot of actual
What
songs.
I think a couple of them are Lady Gaga, so I don't know if that counts. If she gives
Oh, like if they're
her,
her songs. Oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
I don't. If she like maybe she wrote it for the movie, but
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't know.
Okay. But yeah, no, I think yeah. I
Oh,
think it's the singing that gets with people, but
yeah, I guess you're probably right. It's because, like we said, it's the same thing.
yeah.
Then so she visits him in jail. Says she admits about the lie. Says she's
Yeah.
pregnant. Did you have anything to say about this?
I didn't know whether to believe it or not. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? And like we kind of still don't really get like a payoff, like to know. Like it's not like she we get to see her pee on a stick and then hey look, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
You just gotta take her. And how much time passed since they smashed that she knows she's pregnant that quickly?
I don't think a lot.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
I think
know,
that's
but I don't think a lot.
so maybe that's a tell that she's lying maybe because she's just
Actually,
trying to.
no. I think it maybe would have been a couple months because when they have sex, it's after the escape
Yeah.
or like the attempted escape, right? With the
Mhm.
and then after this meeting is when he's in trial, and the trial day is after the interview,
Mhm.
and I think she said that was a couple months away. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I
Okay.
think
I
it
don't. You
was
could.
actually a month or two. So I think she
Okay.
would know.
You could be right. I'm not 100 sure, but yeah, I didn't. My initial thing is I didn't believe it, and when I left the movie, I was like, she's probably lying again.
She could be. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
She
I
totally
think
could
she.
be.
And again, because again, I'm not going off any like canon thing or like, oh, that's not part of the DC lore. Like that
Hmm.
never happened. I don't actually know if that did happen or not. I don't know if Harley Quinn and Joker ever did have a baby, but
No idea.
in my mind,
Uh,
oh man, I don't think.
okay.
Yeah,
Then we're back at the trial, and it's Sophie now that takes the stand. She's talking
yeah,
about his mom, and that his mom was basically saying to her like, "Oh no, he's crazy. He has this stupid laugh," and this gets him all pissed off. And then there's another song, and this is what I was talking about. The Joker is me, and
yeah,
then he's like killing people in the song. He's like
yeah.
bashing the judge in and shooting the cameras. I thought this was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that was definitely like the most intense number because like we were talking
Yeah.
about. I was like, she got involved, and him fucking. Did he shoot Harvey or did he just hit him? 'Cause I know he hit the judge, like he
Uh,
smashed the judge's head. And
Yeah, he smashed the judge's head in like with the gavel, like a
yeah, which is
giant
wild.
gavel. Yeah. Harvey, no, he was beating Harvey's ass. I don't know, remember what it was with, but he was beating yeah, he was smashing. I don't think he shot him, but he was like beating him with something.
Yeah. This is when is this when Sophie was on
Yeah,
the
Sophie.
yeah, that's when Sophie. Okay, yeah. Okay, I was almost jumping ahead, but yeah, no, yeah, I thought that was the I don't know if it was my favorite dance number or I would call it a dance number first song, but like I thought that was like one of the most intense like trial like parts just
Yeah.
because like you see him like boiling up in there. It's like, oh shit, okay, he's getting hot.
And we know it's Joker, so I'm like, oh, is he gonna get crazy? Is he gonna do something wild?
Yeah.
And he does, because this is when he fires his lawyer.
Hmm.
And then my immediate thought was like, hell yeah.
Oh
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
100. Yeah, he's like,
Get this bitch out of here. She's not doing it for you. She's being a normal lawyer, but you're Joker, god damn it. He's gonna represent himself. I was like, okay, here we go. He's gonna start cooking now.
oh, and that just reminded me, yeah, the with this scene too, because I saw this in my research when I was looking. This is when actually when I was looking at the first Joker, but I watched this video afterwards, like, oh shit, that would have been good for the podcast. I was like, okay, I'll save it for the next one. And I looked for it in this movie because apparently I saw like it was a clip from a movie podcast. I can't remember which one it was, but they were saying that if you look throughout the movies, like when it's just Arthur, when Arthur's just doing things, like when he's taking notes or whatever, he's just writing with his right hand. But when it's the Joker, he's using his left hand. And if you look in the movie, like even when he shoots Murray, if you think about it, when he's looking over, you always deserve, shoots him with his left hand.
Yeah.
And whenever he does anything, it's with his left hand. And then even when he hits the judge with like the gavel or like it's always with the left hand. And then whenever he's doing stuff with Arthur, he's just using his right hand.
No
so
way.
It kind of plays into that. It's two different people. It's like, oh, I'm left-handed when I'm the Joker, or I'm right-handed when I'm Arthur.
Oh, okay. So you went into this movie then with this idea in your mind. Did you notice?
Yeah, I saw
stuff?
it. Yeah, I saw it. It literally happened every single time. Every time he was Joker, he used his left hand. Yeah.
Oh shit. So you think it's true then, the split personality thing?
Well, from seeing that, I'm like, it doesn't seem like a coincidence. It's like just the most subtle thing. No one ever says it in the movie. Yeah, I kind of like how he put it in there. It's like if you catch it, you catch it. Because I thought that was interesting. So I just based off that, does that make mean you have a personality? Because
I don't know.
Because they were saying that like, oh, he could just been acting. Like people suggesting like, oh, it's just a performance. So maybe that's part of his performance. He's like, for me to make this another thing, I gotta do things differently. I gotta use a different hand. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah,
that was just something
you could be right.
I wanted to throw out there. That's
like I said before. I don't think he's a split personality thing.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a cool little idea. And if you mentioned like you went in looking at it, and if it's like that every single time, then maybe it is a little clue. You know.
I thought it was a little interesting thing, but yeah, maybe. I'm not 100% sold, but
okay, yeah. And then so Harley goes and sees him again.
Yeah.
Like back when he's in the cell, I was like, again, I'm like, how? Why can she do this? How can she always get behind all these closed doors and locked doors and see him? How is this happening?
I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. How is she just paying people off? Like I kept thinking, I'm like, I would literally think just like you, I was like, how is she doing this? Like, is she paying people off? Is she just like, is she really that Harley that could just sneak into every places? Like, she's not a cat burglar or anything like that, but like, I don't know. She
walks right through the door.
Yeah, that's true.
The guard is even there because they start kissing and he's like, hey, no, I said no touching. Yeah, so like he's there, he sees her. It's not like she snuck in. Maybe she's paying them. I
don't know.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, exactly. We don't see it. Then he goes back to the asylum and they start going wild for him. They do the when the Saints go marching in, they're all getting hype. And this was right after he fired the lawyer. Everyone got all fired up because honestly, like at this point in the movie, like I didn't find it boring. Like we said, I thought the trial scenes, I was locked in.
Yeah.
But the second one was quite similar to the first one. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of losing me a bit. And then so he fired the lawyer and I got fired up. I was like, okay, now we're getting going. And the energy continued into the asylum when they were all going crazy for him. And I was like, this is believable. Another way that I was like, just the realistic nature of this movie, like, you see a guy because they were all hating on him in the asylum. They're like, no, fuck this guy. And then he does something wild and exciting on TV, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. They're all fired up. It's believable, man.
No, it is. No, 100%. And at that point too, I was like, I got hyped up for him too. I was like, he's not winning this case. I'm like, he's gonna do his thing, and like he's gonna have to like break out of prison or something. But like, I was like, I'm ready for the entertainment, but I know he's not winning this case now. Not a chance.
No, you're right. I didn't. At no point did I think he was winning the case. Like throughout every single trial scene, I did not think he was winning the case.
Yeah.
But when he fires a lawyer, and I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like for story wise, like if you're writing a script, you're like, okay, how do we open up opportunity for our character to do something crazy?
Yeah.
Boom. Fire his lawyer. He's not going to represent himself. Yeah. This is perfect. So I was like, okay, he's going to do something. I was so excited to see what's going to happen next, just with the opportunity that they opened up for themselves. I thought it was great writing, honestly.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was one of those scenes where it's like you got excited like that same moment when when we saw him smoking like in the first movie and he's walking. You're like, okay, let's go. He's going to Murray as the Joker. Let's go. This is the same kind of energy. It's like, oh, he's gonna represent himself as Joker.
Tough.
Okay, let's go.
Tough.
I'm ready.
Exactly.
You sit up in your seat. You sit up in your seat, and you're like, all
I
right.
literally sat up in my seat, bro. 100. Because like I said, like in the trial, like they're talking, and I'm locked in, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not like my eyes aren't super wide. Like
Yeah,
I'm
no, for
locked.
sure.
I need to see what happens next. Where when this happened, I was like, okay, no, here we go.
Yeah.
So then he goes back to the court, and he's got all the makeup on, and he's coming as Joker, and I'm like, okay, this is what I need this. This is gonna bang. I'm just so excited at this point. It got me so fired up. And then Gary comes and takes the stand. This was gonna be my Ferris Bueller, but it's not.
Okay.
They had my boy sitting on a phone book.
Oh my God, I know,
Bro, they couldn't get him a pillow or
That's
like
what I'm saying, or a booster seat. You knew he was
Okay,
coming in.
that's rude, bro.
A
Bro, if
phone
he
book
pulls
is
up,
just as
nah. If I'm a whole grown man, okay, not a whole grown man. If I'm
Yeah.
a half grown man,
Yeah.
and I pull up to court and they have a goddamn booster seat, bro, with the tray in front, like I'm gonna be eating Cheerios,
Not
like dog.
that.
No, that's so
Not like
disrespectful.
that. I meant like a seat that just I didn't mean like a baby booster seat. I meant just like some kind of seat that boosted him up. It doesn't have to be the whole with the tray and everything. Nah, I didn't mean all that.
That's what I swear. I was like, nah, that I'd be livid.
No, that'd be mad disrespect. No, I take the book over that. I took the book over that. No.
That's what I was thinking. But I was like, you couldn't give my boy a pillow or something,
Yeah,
like
no, that's
a
wild.
phone book.
That's why.
But I saw something later that got me more mad, or not more mad, but it was more lazy. So
Okay,
that's not
all
my
right,
Ferris
that's fair.
Bueller.
That's fair.
But yeah, the whole scene with the Joker and Gary, what'd you think?
I thought it was really good. I thought it was intense too, because that was a scene we talked about in the last movie. We were like, oh man, like what happened to Gary? I guess like he didn't. We were saying he didn't snitch or anything, but then we kind of
He
find
did.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did snitch. Yeah, he did snitch. We're like, Gary, we thought you didn't snitch, but but no, I thought it was a really interesting dynamic, because it was such like such a real moment. If anything, that Gary's if he wasn't so focused like Arthur on being the Joker, Gary would have been perfect for that defense that they were trying to give, because he was constantly saying, he's like, man, like you were the only one that were nice to me. Like I thought
Yeah,
you were
true.
like I never saw this side of you. So that goes to the point of like, yeah, like there's two different sides of him. You know, there's
Right.
the Arthur side and the Joker side. But Arthur was so much on trying to crack jokes about your last name's really Puddle, really? I'm like, dog.
That's a really good point, actually. I didn't even think of that, but you're right. Like it would have been perfect to show that Arthur is actually a nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, like he was super nice to this one dude. But you're right. He shows up and he starts talking in this accent.
Oh
and I
my
was like,
God,
this
yeah.
this is why I was so excited. And then
Yeah.
he starts doing this. I'm like, yes, this is perfect. This is Joker, bro. Like he doesn't take anything seriously.
doesn't.
This is perfect. I loved it. I thought it was great. And you quickly mentioned it just now, saying he ended up snitching.
Mhm.
But that actually, I thought of it right then when I watched it, because you brought it up in the last episode,
Yeah.
saying, well, I guess he didn't snitch, because if not, they would have stopped him from going on the show.
Yeah.
They didn't stop him from going on the show. He was like, no, I was locked in the precinct the whole time. So they knew Arthur did this, allowed him to go onto the Murray show. What the fuck were they doing?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make
crazy.
any sense. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even take in that, because like for some reason I thought when they said that, I thought it maybe happened later. But yeah, the way that he said it, like chronologically, they would have known.
He even says literally, he's like, because Joker asked him, he's like, did you see my performance on the Murray show? He's
Yeah.
like, no, I was locked in the police precinct the whole time.
Yeah, so he snitched. Yeah.
So literally during the show, he had told the police, and they just allowed him to go on this show. What are they doing?
I guess they had to look into it first. I don't know.
Can we give a retroactive
Yeah, I know.
Ferris Bueller to the first one now with new information?
You know, scratch the tapes will go back in.
Exactly. Yeah, we gotta go change that.
Oh my goodness.
That just literally, as soon as I heard that, I was like, hold up, that doesn't make sense.
There's a lot that went wrong with that Murray show.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, like because your Ferris Bueller was the organizer.
Yeah, the people that called him in.
And didn't check nothing. Yeah, that's a great. That whole show was just a mess.
Oh,
So then there's another song like right after this. It's a happy song. Like he grabs Harley and he busts out of the courtroom and he's walking and because I feel like this is in his reaction in his mind, he won the case.
Yeah.
You know, he did this whole defense talking to Gary And because then the judge says, do you want to, make a defense case or make your case? And he says, no, I'm good. And he's like so comfortable. He's like, no, I did it. I made my case. I'm getting off. I'm perfect. So like in his mind, he's happy. He's relieved. He feels accomplished. So that's why this song is such a happy one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I always I find it funny during the trial too, and I've never actually done like a jury duty or anything like that, or like seen like I don't know how it actually works in real court, like cases and stuff like that, like because it felt like he had just fans there. Like, are just allowed to have fans, and like, whenever he did anything, he raised up, people just cheering. Why are those
Yeah.
people allowed to be in there? Like, I understand,
Yeah.
like
I don't know exactly how, I don't know the rules, but I'm pretty sure that like all the stuff behind where they sit, there's that little wall.
it's first come first serve.
I think so. I don't know exactly. Yeah, I don't think you have to buy tickets, but I mean, for such a high profile case, there was all the people waiting outside. I don't know how they decide who gets it. Maybe it's a first come first serve thing, but
what
it
I
was
mean.
also like a sports game where like you had one half of the fans over here and then the other half over there. I don't know how they got that all situated.
Again, it's not a movie, so I'm not nitpicking on anything. But I thought that was hilarious how just like he had his audience that he was just like going to. Like it was just like a comedy show. Like he turned and then
Yeah, he was firing
like,
him up. Yeah, he was firing him up. But I mean, he thinks this is his show, man. Like he sees everything just as a performance, and he's the main character in the show. But yeah, like logistically, I don't know exactly how that works.
which is fine. I don't know either. I don't blame him.
Yeah, it is what it is. Then we're back to Arkham, and the guards take him to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, I was looking down and taking notes. Does he get raped in there?
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
Which I didn't like. I understood they were cheese because he called them fat guards or whatever and all that shit.
Yeah.
But I'm like, damn, this place is really wild like that. Like the guards can do whatever they want. Like earlier they had the dudes like, oh, go kiss like Arthur. You know what I mean? They're kind of like they're always like, and then they just beat him up. You know, like when they were walking him through, they just have him in the rain. Like they just mistreat these guys like crazy. But yeah, that was wild. I thought they was gonna beat him up.
Yeah, same. I was like, because mistreatment is one thing. Like beating, like if I'm mad at someone, sure, I might want to beat them up. Why would you get to that point, anyways?
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
obviously, there's no right time to rape someone. Like it's never okay.
No.
But what I'm saying is like,
100%.
if you're not gay, why would you do that? Why would you get to that point? If you're mad at someone, why would you do that?
And to me, this is probably part of the reason. Like if you had like different reasons why people maybe didn't like a movie, it maybe would be this too, and not even just about like sexual assault being a movie in general, but just the fact that they did that to the character of the Joker. You know what I mean? Like really, just like knocking him down. Like there's he gets thrown down so much in this movie, and then you add another layer to it where it's just like, oh man, I came to watch the Joker.
Did they have to
man.
do that?
You guys are, and you guys are doing this to him, man. Like you already just treated him so much in the first movie, and now it's just like you just keep going.
It's a good point.
So like, I know I didn't love it because I was like, man, like,
Yeah.
let him get his ass, like, get him beat up and shit like that. But it's just like, man, like,
yeah. Do we?
Then
have
he wasn't
to
the
do
same
that?
afterwards.
Exactly.
Then
Yeah,
he wasn't the same afterwards too, and it was just like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can understand, but again, realistic. If something like that happens to you,
yeah,
I would imagine,
for
of
sure.
course,
Yeah,
that's a very, very traumatic experience. And
for sure.
when he was young, and he goes through the traumatic experience of child abuse, and what happens to him leading from that. A big moment like this would definitely change you as a person, because then he gets thrown in solitary again, and then they also kill his buddy.
Yeah, his buddy Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky.
I think it was Ricky, right?
Following him around and gassing him. He just kills that guy. I was like, these guards went, like, they were beating people up, which is already bad, but they went full psycho.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And I was thinking, I was like, there is no decorum in this. Like, there's no warden. We never really see a warden or anything like that. I don't even know if a warden is just, that's maybe just a prison thing. I don't know if Arkham even has wardens, but yeah, that shit was.
There would be someone at the top, some kind of president.
Yeah,
or
no, that's true.
I don't know what the title would be, but there's got to be somebody. Yeah, there's got to be somebody at top. But this, I also think was. It leads to the next thing, right? Because then he goes back to court and he says, he's like, no, there's no Joker. it was me. I killed those people. I also killed my
Yeah.
mom. Like he admits to all this stuff. And
Yeah.
I think that the reason he's doing that is basically because he's killing him. He wants to kill himself, right? And he can't
Yeah.
kill himself in jail. But he's like, if I lose this case, I get the death penalty. So he's like, all I had to
Yeah.
do is admit that I did this. I get myself the death
Yeah.
penalty. And he's like, this miserable life that I'm living and what just happened to me, like it's all over.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of it like that. I just thought he was just like broken, and I didn't think he was even thinking that about the death penalty. But that is a good point. That probably is what his thought process was. He's like, "Oh, this is just a way for me to end it. If I
Exactly.
just admit to all this stuff." And because again, and in that moment, still, I was still on the waiver of like, yeah, I guess it's not a split personality thing. I was like, is this really him saying it?
Mm.
But is he in control of these outburst of like when he like kind of turns into the Joker or whatever? But that's a good I never thought of it like that. That's a good
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. And
Yeah.
that's a big reason why, because this is when Harley gets up and leaves.
yeah.
You know, she got all dressed up in her jester suit, does her makeup and everything, shows up, and then he says this, and she gets up and walks out.
Mhm.
And then I was like, why are you walking out? Like, I guess maybe she doesn't know what just happened to him in jail
Yeah.
or at the asylum. But I mean, you know that this guy's life isn't good.
Yeah.
And I guess he's switching up on what you've known him to be, but you also lied to him. Like, you're not really here on the moral high ground,
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
it's true. Yeah, and I was thinking the same thing too. Like I thought that was really whack too. I was like, oh man, she really gonna leave him like that? I thought, and
Yeah.
then like I thought there was gonna be some kind of flip or anything, but like she just dipped on him like that, and then I was like,
But then I also kind of was like, oh, maybe this is what happened, because then this is the explosion.
yeah,
My first thought was like, is this real? Is this
Yeah.
is this part of his
Same.
head? Like, is this going to be a song and this is just fake? Or I was like, did Harley get up and leave and she set this bomb off? Those
Yeah.
were the two things that were going through my head.
No, that was my thought. That was my first thought too. I was like, oh, that was Harley's thing. And then when we see those guys, I was like, oh, they're taking him to her or something like that. Like I thought I was like, oh shit, okay. We got a whole operation going out here. I was like, this is like the beginning of
Exactly.
Dark Knight or some shit. We
And
got
then
a
they're
whole
going to build a
operation.
mountain.
Yeah, exactly.
But did you also think, like, is this real? Did you think it was real?
Initially, when the explosion happened, I was like, oh shit. I was like, is this even happening? Or
Yeah.
like what's gonna happen? I thought it was kind of funny how like the explosion happened and only he gets up and walks out, and like what happened to everybody else?
Yeah. And he was
But-
close to it. He was probably the
Yeah.
closest to it.
That's
I mean,
what I'm saying.
he's tough, man. He's
We
tough.
saw his body fly through the air.
I mean, we've seen his body fly through the air multiple times through these first two movies, so I think it's pretty well established, at least that he's a
is
tough
true.
guy.
That's true.
Or maybe that was Arthur dying and now it's Joker.
That's true.
Hey, man, split personalities, I'm telling you.
You're right.
But then, like, when I realized that it was real, like you said, when those guys pull up and grab him and throw him in the car, I was like, oh, okay, this is actually happening. He's out. And then
Yeah.
I got excited. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, he's out.
Same.
What's gonna happen? You know,
Yeah.
like this is Joker and he's on the loose. What's gonna happen? It got me hyped.
No, same. And then that was like I was checking. Oh, I didn't even check. I didn't really check my watch, but I was like, "Oh, how much runtime we got? Like, what are we?"
That's
what
what I
are we
was
about to
kinda
get up
thinking
to?
too.
Yeah, what are we about to
Yeah.
get up to in this? Now that he's out, he's free man.
Well, what I thought initially was like, because I knew there wasn't too much time left in the movie, but he's out. I was like, oh, maybe he's just gonna, maybe he'll meet up with Harley and they'll be them. We're gonna build a mountain, and then it'll be end kind of along those lines, and then it would open up to a third.
Oh, true.
I thought maybe it would be something like that, because now
Yeah.
that he's finally this would be the story of how he gets loose again
Yeah,
and
true.
meets up with Harley.
Mhm.
That's not what ended up happening. But
Yeah,
because he goes to the stairs, the
classic
iconic
stairs.
the classic stairs from the first one, and she's there.
Mhm.
And again, I was excited. I was like, okay, there she is. They're
Yeah.
linked up. They're free. What's gonna happen? And then she leaves, and I was like, this is okay. This is well. First, give me your thoughts. What'd you think?
I was disappointed.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, really? I was like, she's not gonna mess with it. Because then part of me was thinking, I was like, when he was just walking to the stairs, I'm like, yo, dog, you got to be a little more, low key about this. He was walking just straight up,
Sprinting.
just down the street. Yeah. And it's just like it's still light outside. It's not that dark. I'm surprised the people that are around him didn't like look and be like, "Oh snap!" It's because I feel like everybody in the
Yeah,
city's got to know who he is. You know, when
definitely.
he
Yeah,
killed a dude live on TV, even if he's like, you know what I mean. And I'm sure the court case is all over TV. So it's like,
it is.
I
Yeah,
thought
he's in the
first
newspapers and stuff.
that's what I'm saying. So at first I thought that was hilarious. How like when he was just walking the streets and those two people just didn't even bat an eye at him.
Yeah.
But then yeah, when he finally got to Harley and she just like said nah on him and he just stood there. I was like, oh fuck, oh well, run,
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, yeah, he just takes it and like gets locked back up.
Yeah,
But I think again, he's like, okay, they're gonna give me the death penalty, and if she
yeah,
doesn't want me, then what's the point of living anymore? So
yeah.
I
No,
think
that's
that's
true.
kind of why he just sat there. But
Mhm.
you're right, and I was disappointed as well. And this is what I teased earlier, where I was saying I think this is why a lot of people don't like the movie, because I
Yeah,
feel like the ending of a movie, one, is important.
yeah,
Two, I also think that this specifically in this context is like a slap in the face to the audience. Like the
yeah,
whole movie is a buildup of him going through the court system, meeting up with Harley. She's talking the whole time. We're gonna get loose and build a mountain. We're gonna do all this
yeah.
stuff. It's all build up. We're like, okay, and now he's out. He's out. What's
Mhm.
gonna happen? Nothing. Like it's just like, oh, we got you guys. You thought they were gonna do
Yeah,
something? No, they're not doing shit. I thought it was like a big slap in the face to the audience. So I feel like a lot that kind of just taints the view of the rest of the movie
hmm,
in the head of the audience. So I think that's why a lot of people probably negatively view the movie. And really, I'm just guessing. But for me, I enjoyed the buildup. Like we
yeah,
mentioned, all the different scenes when they're in the trial, seeing him in the asylum. I enjoyed all that stuff. So that's why I still enjoy the movie.
yeah,
But if you see it as that's all build up to the climax, and then the climax is her just shutting him down and leaving, it is a big slap in the face.
yeah. And this goes to that's a good point, and I think it's the slap in the face again comes from what I was talking about earlier with it being an IP because again, it is what it is. So I'm not going to pretend like this movie isn't a Joker Harley Quinn movie. But if this was not a Joker Harley Quinn movie, just for
Yeah.
the
If
sake
his
of me
name
making
was
the point,
Michael and Cassidy.
yeah, then this would just be like, oh man, that was like a because the tragedy movies exist, like a tragedy, like these
Hmm.
movies exist where it's like
Hmm.
there's not a happy ending, and this movie wasn't a happy ending, and I think it's just when it's a beloved character, you people are expecting it to be something like happy because even like the end of the last movie to a certain extent was a happy ending for a character that people enjoy. Like the Joker is probably one of the most beloved villains in superhero or in like superheroes
Yeah.
world of
Yeah.
any hero. Like, and I think he's yeah, just straight up. Like I was trying to think of anyone
Full
like
stop.
rivals. Yeah,
No,
full stop.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
people like that character. So I think if because it's him, it just hurts even more. Versus if it was like some random drama where it was like you
Right.
said, like Mike or Bob, Billy, whoever it is, it'd be like,
Yeah.
oh man, that sucks. But it's like, oh, they got me on that twist ending. You know what I mean? That people be more open to being like, ah, shit, like I thought it was gonna work out in the end, it didn't. And
Yeah.
people be kind of like, oh, I'm glad. Usually, movie it always is a happy ending. The guy gets the girl. But when
Mhm.
in this case, it's like, oh no, I want to see Harley and Joker.
I see what you're saying, but I also think that not only is it not a happy ending, but it's nothing.
Hmm.
There could, like you said, the last one isn't a happy ending. He gets arrested and ends up in prison, right?
Hmm.
But we see him go through the Murray show, and then after this, drive through the streets, and then there's the riot, and
Yeah.
they crash the car, and he gets out, and he does the blood and has the big smile on his face.
Yeah.
So we still get a moment of
Yeah.
closure, and it's a triumphant moment for him, but it's still a sad ending because he ends up in jail. It could have been something similar in this. I don't think it's the fact that it wasn't a happy ending. It could be a sad ending, but we
Hmm.
still needed something with Harley, like
Yeah.
something with it could have been that they were gonna be together, and then she ends up dying, or he ends up dying, or you know what I mean, like something, or one of them gets arrested, or But it just the fact that he pulls up and she said, "No, you're not the Joker I thought you were," and then she just leaves. At that point, why did you even wait for him at the stairs then? Like, why were you even there to
Yeah.
begin with to see it? Like, I felt like it was just there wasn't any closure. She just, for a reason that I thought was weak, she said,
Yeah.
"No, you're not really the Joker." When he just wanted to kill himself. Like I said, that's what I saw was
Yeah.
why he admitted to doing that stuff in jail. It was like
Yeah.
he just wanted to end his life.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, you're not Joker, and she just leaves. So that's why I think it just kind of fell flat. There was just
Yeah.
it wasn't anything to like wrap up. It could be triumphant or bad, but there had to be something, you know.
Mm-hmm. And then just to jump ahead to get to the very ending, like if you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to
end it. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, just him getting stabbed by that inmate too.
The
Like
psychopath.
they're
Yeah.
like, oh, you have a visitor for you. Like I don't know if that was you think that was just like a setup? Or was that
I
actually
don't
someone
know.
was coming to see him? Because like that
I didn't
happens in
even
like
think. Yeah, I don't
prison
know.
movies sometimes. We're like, oh, someone wants to come to see you, and like, oh, who wants to come to see me? And then they go in an alley and they just get
Right.
like fucked, like get fucked up. I was thinking, I was like, oh, was that a setup or is just because the guard never just kept walking? I never been like, yo, Arthur, hurry up. You know what I mean? The guard just was gone.
Honestly, yeah, it might have been a setup because I mean, we it's already well established that the guards are pieces of shit. They treat them
Yeah.
horribly, and they don't like him specifically. So they
Mhm.
definitely could have been like, "Yeah, Arthur, come here. You got a visitor." Given that guy a shiv, and then walked
Look
out.
at a knife. That's
Or
all.
a
That's
knife
why
or
part
whatever
of me
it is,
thought it
yeah.
was like a setup. Because like, where the hell did he get that?
Yeah, it could have been. I didn't think of it, but you're right. It could have been.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that's like a double layer of the way he got ridiculed
Fuck
by
you.
Harley, and then he get no. I mean, there's a double. Oh, like I mean to the audience, like you're
Yeah,
saying of
yeah.
just like okay, Harley doesn't want him, and then now you got to watch him get stabbed and then just die out, and it's like damn.
Yeah. Yeah,
All right.
and then so we saw the whole first movie of him becoming this character. This whole setup of him, the second movie, the whole setup of him building up, was it him or was it someone else, and introducing Harley into the story. Like all of this is setting up for a bigger story, and then it all just ends. She
Yeah.
leaves and he gets killed, and then it's like this is a slap in the face. Like why did we
Yeah.
just do all that? So I didn't like the ending. I think it's a very common opinion. And I think that's probably why a lot of people negatively view the movie. But I still think like 80%, 90% of it is a good movie.
Oh, so do I.
And the only other thing was just that guy, I guess, is the real Joker. Because after he's giggling and he starts
Yeah.
cutting his mouth.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah.
like, so I don't know if he's the real Joker in air quotes or if he's like the next Joker. Like if Joker is an idea
Yeah.
and he's just the next like host per se, you know?
Yeah, I saw people. That was one of the other like the fan theories I saw that people were like, "Oh, that Joker that
Is Heath Ledger?
Is Heath Ledger?" Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
especially because I saw people saying that I was like, oh, because I thought people were gonna say that their baby was gonna be the Heath Ledger or something like that, and then that was gonna be his whole story. I was like, why would they connect it? But then when he did the mouth thing, I was like, oh shit. I was
Yeah.
like, so they are trying to do it like that. Then I was like, that's why I did the Harvey Dent thing too, because I was like, do the ages work up as those two get older, and then Batman's
think
growing
so.
up too, and all that shit? Like, yeah, I don't know.
That's true. Because how old would Well, this was right after the first one, so
She's still a
Batman would
kid.
still be pretty young.
Yeah,
That was one thing I was kind of. I realized it after watching the movie. I was like, huh, we actually didn't see Batman at all. Like in the
Yeah.
first one, that's another reason I think that this movie people didn't enjoy as much is there's no fan service.
yeah,
And it's not like the first one had a ton of fan service, but this one doesn't have
Harvey
any
Dent.
at all.
Harvey Dent.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't see him as Two-Face. Like he's
Yeah,
just
that's
there.
true.
He's just there as the DA.
I think
So,
it's just
like,
one of those, like the Leo moments
Oh,
where you see
yeah, that's
they say
him.
Harvey
Oh,
Dent.
that's
It's like,
Harvey Dent.
oh, I know who that is.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. But I mean, if we yeah, I just don't think having the fan service in the first one,
Yeah,
there's not a ton of it, but at least there's a little bit. When we see Bruce Wayne, in this one
And
we don't
Thomas.
see.
Yeah, true.
And exactly, yeah. So there's the connection to Batman. This we don't see or hear of them at all. The
all, yeah.
Waynes.
That's true.
So I feel like if they sprinkled a little bit in, that would help. I think that would help.
Oh, for sure. It's very interesting to like you expect like a production or not a production like a studio to give a lot of feedback. I feel like they gave him all the reins on this. You know what I mean? I feel there wasn't much. Not saying like they need to change the movie to make it like better in a sense of. I'm surprised they were like, maybe don't kill Joker. How about maybe they actually do get together? You know what I mean? I feel like there's usually a lot of studio influence. I'm surprised with such a beloved like IP of like the Joker Batman that they
Yeah.
really let him do whatever he wanted. It's rare. I feel like you see such a
I think
an
it's because he
approach like
earned
that.
it off the first one.
That's true. Yeah,
You know, like the first one was made $1 billion, people
That's
loved
true.
it. So I think he earned it. You know.
That's true. That's fair.
So I mean, that was my opinion on the ending. Was it? I'm guessing that you had a similar
Yeah, no,
thoughts.
yeah. I had the same opinion where I liked the movie. I think maybe he felt like the moment that he gave us like similar was like when he was Joker in the courtroom. That probably was like the closest thing to him with the mouse smiling. That was like his biggest moment. It's like, oh, we had to see him be Joker for a bit. This is fun. And that was our moment, I guess, to me, I guess. And then yeah, the ending was kind of like
Yeah.
it
All
kind
right.
of left me feeling pretty similar to you.
Okay. Well then, do you have any more facts that you didn't get to?
No, I think I sprinkled everything. I sprinkled everything in.
I did the same thing. So
All right, perfect. All right, so it's time to get into the filmies. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you're new to the podcast, we have an award show where we give out 6 awards throughout for the movie we just watched. Our first award is the Ferris Bueller Award. We talked about this during the movie, where it's basically we give out awards. We talked about a lot during this movie, actually.
yeah.
All the things that weren't our Ferris. So I'm curious to see what yours
Exactly.
is. But yeah, so it's a moment that it could be from the director, the writer, character, or characters that we deemed lazy. And it's always for fun, though. It's something that usually takes away from the movie. So, Scott, what was your Ferris Bueller award?
I kind of just mentioned it.
Okay.
And because we were just talking about it, it's that we didn't see Harvey as Two-Face. And there's the specific reason is not just that in general, but the explosion. Bro, so the explosion happens. We see him fly across. We see Joker fly across the room. He gets up and he's walking out, and there's a quick shot of Harvey on the ground, and he's like all bloody, and he's like coughing up blood. Bro, come on, like you couldn't have burned half his face, or like had some rubble fall on half of his body, or you know what I mean? Like you could have had something there. Like it's right, the opportunity is right there, and they didn't take it. And that's lazy, and that's my Ferris Bueller award.
That's a great Ferris Bueller, because I 100% relate with you with that, because I was thinking the exact same thing. When the explosion happened, I saw her in the floor. I literally tilted up to see. I was like, is half his face? I was like,
it wasn't.
I was like, nah.
I know. I was so cheese, man.
It was just a little. He's like, you could have done it.
It was right there. It was right there.
Hey, Zack Snyder would have done it, yo. Zack Snyder would have done it.
Come on, man. It's lazy.
That is lazy. It's just the simplest thing. He doesn't gotta do a monologue or anything. Just have it in the background.
Just a tiny thing.
A little thing for us. Have it be Easter egg. Don't even zoom in on him. You don't have to do a close shot.
I'm saying. That's what we said. Fan service,
just
bro.
Do a little bit.
It was right there.
Yeah, it was right there. My Ferris Bueller award goes to Dr. Victor Liu. So it was a psychiatrist. We talked about him. It was the one that interviewed him, and she said that he only did 89 minutes instead of two hours. It's not necessarily because of the time length. That him actually doing less time isn't lazy. Well, I guess that actually is lazy. But he lied about it. But my thing is just for him not asking any of those questions. Because I was like, dog, your job is to talk to this dude. It's like literally one of the biggest stories that's probably happened in the city in years. I'm like, just as a person that has that job, you're not curious to ask these questions. You already did the research. You're not gonna ask him about his childhood. To me, it's like I said there was equivalent of like a basketball trainer looking at stats and being like, nah, he ain't ready for the league. I don't need to see him run drills. I don't need to test his ball IQ. I just see the stats. Nah, that's that. Ask him.
Stat watcher.
Yeah, what are you talking about? You're just looking at the stats, bro.
I think the only pushback I would give you is that I think as it's kind of the government corruption, right? Like they don't want him to get out, so they're like, do the bare minimum, so that we can just say that we gave him a fair chance and we interviewed him.
Yeah,
but that's the only pushback. But I mean, you're right. Like she was pointing out, she was basically giving the Ferris Bueller award to us. She was like, look at all the shit that you didn't do.
Yeah, that's true. And she had a good point. So I was like, all right.
You're right.
I'm giving it to him for that.
Hey, I can't hate for that. Good pick.
I almost want to switch to the Gary thing because you mentioned that. I was like, that's
The
true.
phone
They gave this
book?
man a book. Yeah, they gave man a
Bro,
phone
that
book.
was
That's crazy.
I saw that. I wrote it down. I was like, that's my lazy word. And then then the explosion happened. I saw Harvey, and not too fast. I was like, what the fuck? And it
Yeah.
actually pissed me off. I was like, why would you not do that? It doesn't add any time to the story.
No.
It doesn't. You don't have to do any extra work.
No,
That cheesy.
it doesn't
But
take away.
yeah, the phone book.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, so our next award goes for is the fit checks. Pretty self-explanatory. So what was your favorite fit of the movie?
Mine was Harley,
Okay.
and it was the first day of the trial.
Okay.
So she's just in the, I was gonna say in the stands, but in like the seats behind. I don't know
Yeah.
what you call those, like the
Yeah, the
spectator
seats.
seats,
Yeah, there
the
you go.
bleachers.
I was gonna say
so
bleachers too.
Yeah, so she had a floral dress, which
Mm-hmm.
was all right, but she had the jester stockings like with the diamonds on them. I thought those were cool. I was like, okay, she's starting to become Harley. That's cool. And then she had like this blue green like aqua fur coat over top. That was
I
fucking
actually don't
dope.
remember. I don't remember.
It was because there's right before she walks into the courthouse, she's outside and she like leans on a pillar and she's smoking a cigarette, and
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think she sings a little song. So there's a moment there that we see her, because after she's in the courthouse, she takes the jacket off, so you don't see it again.
Oh, okay.
So it's a
Yeah,
short little moment, but I thought the jacket was fire, and I like the jester stocking. So
Yeah, it's
that's
a
why I
subtle
got
touch.
my fit.
Yeah, you're just because she slowly does turn throughout the movie. It feels like every time we see her, there's like a little bit more and more of Harley. That's a good point. I like that. That's fresh
Yep.
fit. That's
What was
fresh
yours?
fit. Unfortunately, we don't have the same. I was hoping maybe we'd have the same, but mine goes to when I think this is when they were having that montage. I can't remember exactly when this scene happened. When like they had like their wedding. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they're having their wedding, and then she's like running up to him, and then he's waiting there, and then you see him. He's in a full white suit. I thought that was clean as hell.
Okay.
I was like, oh, that
Okay.
looks so dope. Like he's got his face paint on, his hair slicked back, full suit. The pants are white, the jacket's white, the vest is white, the tie is white, the undershirt's white. Everything's just clean white. He's got his hand in his pocket, and he's just waiting. I'm like, ooh. I was like, okay. As soon as I
Looking
saw, I was like,
tough.
oh, that's tough.
Yeah,
That's
Joaquin
tough.
Phoenix, man, he's got some fucking juice, bro. Like
Oh, he does.
when he's supposed to look hard, he looks fucking hard,
Oh,
bro. Like
yeah,
we
he
were
does.
saying in the first one when he's smoking that cigarette, he looks tough,
Oh,
dude. Like,
he
he's like 120 pounds, but he looks tough, man. Like in the songs, like when he's always got the crazy suits on,
Yeah.
he's got it. I don't know what it is, but he's
100%.
got it.
It's so true. It's like, yeah, when you just Arthur, you see him, he's like all hobbled. He's all skinny.
Yeah.
It's the same dude. Put some face paint on him. He puts up on his chest, and suddenly he's
Yeah.
that guy.
100%. Exactly, bro. I don't know.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, he's great for this Joker. Like, I think he plays this character because, like, Heath Ledger, I was talking to a friend yesterday about, Heath Ledger's Joker versus this Joker, and like, they have the same name and that they're from the same IP, like you said, but they're two totally different characters. And I think Joaquin
yeah.
Phoenix for this one works really well because, like you said, when he's Arthur, he looks like a shy little scrawny dude. And then as soon as he puts some paint on, he's just dripping an aura. And then he's in the courtroom with the accent, just like, your name, you expect us to believe that your last name is really Puddles? It's so good.
No, it is good. It is good. That's why, and I had to give him the respect for having that aura,
I like it.
yo. I was like,
I like
I gotta give him one of these, yo.
Good
He was
one.
looking fresh.
Good
I
pick.
think I gave it to him in the last movie too. I don't even remember, but
It was
had to do it.
certified. I remember it was the Joker
true.
suit, like the
Oh,
red.
yeah, true, because he
suit.
had to. Yeah, he had to do that one.
Exactly.
So the next one we got is the quote. So favorite quote. So what was your best quote from the movie, Scott?
Mine goes to Arthur
Okay.
in the interview with Patty.
Okay.
So it's early on in the movie, and
Yeah.
he says, "I thought Murray was playing a part on my show, but he was a bad actor." And the reason I like that quote is I mentioned it earlier, saying like he's always the main character in his show. Like he sees everything as this big performance, this big show, and he's the main guy. And
Yeah.
even when he was literally on someone else's show, it's called the Murray Show.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, this he was playing a part in my show, and then saying, but he was a bad actor because Murray was making it about him. And
Yeah.
then when Harley made it about her, by lying, and then he even says in that in their song together. He's like, no, you're making it about you, and she's singing, and then she shoots him. So like, he hates when anyone else is trying to steal that shine from him.
Yeah.
And I thought that's why I thought that was a cool quote.
No, that's a good. That is a good quote. That's a good point too to mention about even the Harley thing too, about him being upset about her and like because I thought they were just being a little goofy, but it does make sense about especially when you tie it to the bad actor quote of him wanting always to be the main person, and that's why I said I thought it was interesting their dynamic because it didn't really feel like 1A 1B kind of thing. It felt like she
Right.
was kind of in charge of their relationship the whole time, and the fact that like she ended up leaving him and everything. I feel like in every other iteration or like every other version of Joker and Harley, it's always like he'd be the one to like push her aside and be like, "Hey, go away here, Harley." Like she's the one,
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, take me, Mister J,
Mr.
or
J,
whatever." Yeah,
Mr.
exactly,
J.
Mister J. But that's a good quote. That's a good quote.
Appreciate it.
My quote is not as meaningful, and it's actually kind of fucked up, and it's
Oh,
mostly just
okay.
because it's one of Arthur's jokes.
Okay.
And it's just because I don't. It was a joke that I'd never heard before. I thought it was kind of funny. It kind of took me back because it made me think when I was in elementary school. Me and my friends, we had this stupid little joke book that we found at like Scholastics. I don't know. I'm sure you've probably had
The
those.
book
It's a
fair? Hell
throwback.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a throwback for anyone that like from Canada. And we got a joke.
I don't know how
book.
big that is.
Yeah, I don't know how big. I think it's just a Toronto, like an Ontario thing. Maybe it goes all
Maybe.
over Canada. So some Canadians are gonna be like, "Hey, you said Scholastics."
Yeah.
But we got a joke book and it was just all these corny. Some of them were like dirty jokes and goofy. And we just go through them all day and just thought it was hilarious. And him, that's why I was surprised I never heard of this joke when he was like when he said he's like, "Oh, you know what I asked my mother?" I was like, "Why do you stay with the stepdad even though he hits you?" And she's like, "Beats the hell out of me." And I don't know why I laughed so hard at that because I've never heard that joke. And I was like, "Oh shit." I get it. I don't know.
The only thing that alarms me is that you said it's kind of fucked up.
Oh
That's
yeah,
that's really
no,
fucked
it is
up.
fucked up.
That's
No,
But
it's
you're
kind
right,
of fucked up. That
I'd
it's
never
my
heard that
quote,
joke.
my favorite
Oh,
quote.
oh,
Not the
okay.
joke.
The joke's not fucked up.
No, the joke is fucked up.
Okay, good.
It's kind of
Okay.
it's kind of fucked
I'm just
up.
making sure.
No, the joke is fucked up. It's kind of fucked up
Good.
that it's my favorite quote.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
But that stuck with me. Hey, when you watch a live movie, the thing that sticks with you, I'm like, that's my quote.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, it's always different when we were watching it in theaters, man. You
That's
gotta
what I
when you
mean.
find one, you gotta stick with it.
That's what I did. I was like, oh, never heard that. I'm attaching myself to that, and then I just sat on it. There probably was other things that there definitely was better quotes. Like your quote, I'm like, fuck, man, I wish something better stuck.
I'm just
with
better.
me. That's
I'm just
fair.
better.
You're better with the quotes. That's fine.
Hey, it is what it is. You get what you deserve.
So our next award is the six man award, aka the Nas Reed, because he's the reigning defending six man of the NBA. So Scott, who is your six man?
Mine goes to Lee Gill, who plays Gary.
Okay.
I thought he was great, man. Like him and Joaquin Phoenix in the courtroom scene. Like when he came in and he's like already trembling, sits down on that phone book, and he like him and Joaquin just they're back and forth. He's like, my name is Gary Puddles. That's just my name, and he's stoic. And then like when he breaks down, he's crying. He's like, man, I felt so powerless. Like I couldn't do anything there. Like I really believed it. I thought he had a small role, and I just thought he killed it.
Oh no, he really did, and that's why he was.
No pun intended. The small role.
Oh shit!
I literally didn't.
Damn, yo. Good. Now you said something fucked up after I picked up a fucked up quote. So we're neck and neck.
Okay.
Nah, we gave him a six man, and he's my six man too. So I don't know if you want to. Let's go. He had to be.
He's great. He was great.
He was great, and like to reiterate everything you just said. I think the whole build up too, like it was really set up of him like slowly coming into the scene. You see him get up into the chair, and like you said, it was the tears, and you really sense that fear. And I said it before. Like I said, he was probably the best case for Arthur if he wasn't in that stupid ass Joker state, because he was saying like, I felt so small. And I thought it was kind of interesting. He's like, you don't understand how that feels. I'm like, I think you guys both understand. Like you were small and people made fun of you for being small, and maybe they're just made other jokes too. But like people, you saw people just messed up with Arthur all the day, just all the time and stuff like that. So it's just like,
you're right, but Arthur ended up killing people. You know
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
true.
Like whereas Gary feels like he literally couldn't. Like in
Yeah.
that moment, he's like, I couldn't do anything. Like he literally he needed Arthur to unlock the door
Yeah, that's
for him.
true.
Remember? Like he literally couldn't do anything. He's
No,
like,
that's true.
I felt so powerless, and like his performance was just
Oh, it
really,
was
really good in
amazing.
that moment.
It was so great.
And this is when we, like I said before, what we both mentioned, saying that we were so excited
Oh yeah.
that Joker, he fired his lawyer and now he's going to be representing himself. This is the scene where it's about to happen, and the slow lead up with Gary, like it's all building up, and it delivered. It was great.
Yeah, that was great. I'm glad we were certified on that, because I was thinking in my head too. I was like, I wonder who else could really get this, because he bodied that. It was just he literally had
100%.
that one scene, killed it, out of there.
Out. Yep.
Shout out Gary.
Shout
What do you
out
say his real name was? The character
Lee Gill.
Lee Gill. Shout
Well,
out Lee.
Leigh. Lee? I
No,
don't
I
know.
think that's Lee. That's Lee.
Okay, give him Lee.
All right. So our next award is the best scene. So Scott, what was your best scene in the movie?
It's the scene that we just talked about.
Oh, okay.
Joker and Gary. I mean, his accent was killing me.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny what he was doing. The whole, like I said, it started off funny with him, like the whole Puddles thing, and then it got really serious. And Gary was incredible. Joaquin Phoenix was incredible in this scene. It was just, it was great. Like I said, I was so excited leading up. It delivered. It had me on my toes just the most in the whole movie. It was, as soon as it happened, I was like, this is my best scene, guaranteed.
No, it was great. I 100% agree. Was that the same scene when, like, at that point? No, what song led up into that? Like, did he do a song in that scene? I don't think there was any.
Yes. Well, right before this was when he was in jail, and there was when the Saints go marching in, when they were all getting fired up.
Okay.
But there was also the. Oh no! Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it. I don't think there was a song.
No,
I
you're
could
right.
be wrong.
No,
I didn't
no.
write down every single
Yeah,
thing that
no, neither
happened in
did
the
I.
movie.
Yeah, because we're all trying to enjoy the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what happens. But okay, unfortunately, I didn't have the same favorite scene. I really did love that scene, but
Okay.
mine goes to the scene with Sophie. Like when like they're all built, like they're all like piling on him and everything, and like he's slowly getting like upset, and then I liked the Joker is me song, because I liked the way it started. The way it started was hard too. It was just like the silhouette of him like on the mic and just the blue light. And then again, like we talked about it in detail, him attacking Dan. And then Harley comes in, she points a gun at him, gives it to him, and he just starts jamming and then going around shooting, attacks the judge. And then he shoots himself, which I thought was like a nice callback, because of all the times that we've seen someone do this in the movie. Like he did it.
The gun to the head thing.
Gun to the head thing. So I mean, I guess that was kind of like a foreshadowing, you could say. I mean, he didn't end up killing himself, but just of him dying. Him dying. Die at some point in this movie. It wasn't by a gunshot, but so maybe it's not foreshadowing. Take that out. But no, that was my.
It was a good scene. You're right, and like the build of him getting more and more pissed off, and then that leading to him doing this song, and it was a good one too. Like, because not only was it just singing, there was all the other extracurriculars going on. It was a good one too. Yeah, I like it.
So I really liked it. I wanted to give some love to a song too, just because I was like,
yeah, fair enough.
I liked a lot of the set pieces too. I was saying that earlier, and that was the one that got me the most. I was like, ooh, that was good. And my honorary was gonna be, actually no, screw that. I'm not doing honorary, but
fuck honorary.
Yeah, fuck honorary. Our last award, and certainly not least, is our MVP. So Scott, who's your MVP go to?
I gave it again to Joaquin Phoenix. Okay. I actually had a little bit of trouble. I almost gave it to Lady Gaga. I thought she was really good. She was really good as Harley Quinn. Honestly, like we talked about already, like the ending kind of like fell flat for me with her. Yeah. And like I had mentioned before, I feel like her character could have had a little bit more. So that's honestly the reason I didn't give it to her. Not that that's her fault. It's her character.
No, for sure.
And that's the script. But I mean, Joaquin, he was just great again. And I mentioned it before, like as this Joker, like this real and grimy and realistic Joker, I feel like he plays it super, super well. I think his physical acting is actually really good in this too. Like when he's getting thrown around, like there's one where when he's going down a solitary and they throw him down the stairs and he like bashes into the wall and rolls down the stairs. And then when he comes back, and they before they go to the bathroom, they whack him against the wall, and it's actually him. I was like, unless they somehow spliced two shots together and swapped out a double, but like we see his face right after. So I was like, this is him, and I thought he was just great.
Yeah, no, yeah, his performance almost gets overshadowed because he plays the character so well. You're just like, yeah, that's just Joker, and then you just kind of
Yeah.
watching the movie, but it's just like, no, this performance is, you know what I mean? Like, I almost felt like I feel like it's the similar thing of like we're all looking at it in retrospect, but I think even when I watched The Dark Knight like the first time, I don't think I even really thought about how crazy that performance was. I think it's kind of that kind of performance. I'm like, yo,
Right.
what Heath Ledger's doing is wild because I think also is the fact because I didn't really know who Heath Ledger was beforehand. I never seen him do other things. So I think it's another thing if you saw him do like Brokeback Mountain or some other movie, and then you see him do this Joker character, like, whoa, like he's not doesn't
Yeah.
usually do this stuff. But to me,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's a guy playing Joker. Yeah, you're supposed to be crazy and weird, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? And then obviously we were younger, so it's not we were like we weren't analyzing how people were acting as the characters. You just see the characters as they are. And I
Yeah, we're
think
just
when you look
excited
at
about
Joaquin,
Batman and Joker.
exactly. So when you see Joaquin in this, the first performance you see him in one movie, you're like, man, that was crazy. And now it's kind of like second hat. You're like, yeah, we've seen this, even though it's still it's still great.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You're
So
right.
I completely understand why you'd give him the MVP. I didn't give it to him, but it's definitely not because he didn't deserve it. He could literally get it in both movies.
So you
hands
got
down.
MVP fatigue, huh? They're like LeBron.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah,
He should have way more MVPs, but they're not giving it to him because like
I
this
had
is
to
just
give someone
LeBron.
else some love.
Oh my MVP for fuck
No,
you.
exactly.
This is what's
All right.
wrong with MVP voters.
No, you already you got 20. You've been averaging 27 and 7 and 7 for like 9 years. I'm over it. All right.
All right.
I don't care. I still gotta shout him out. But I wanted to give love somewhere else too. So I gave my MVP to Lawrence Sher. So that's the DP, it's the director of photography for the
Okay.
movie, which it trickles down to the whole like camera and electrical department. I can't give it to everybody, so I just give it to the DP because it's the top, but everyone else obviously did their jobs to play a role in that. To me, this movie, just like the last movie, was so beautifully shot. Like there's just so many amazing scenes. Like that shot that you talked about. I didn't want to give it my favorite scene because it's not a scene, but like that exact shot you talk about when you see him in the cell with the cigarette and then it gets up and then like the light turns off and then you just see it light up his face. I was like, oh, that looks
So sick.
it's so sick. It's just there's so many. You can tell he storyboarded so many shots because like even when they're walking through the rain and then they go up and all the umbrellas are lit or like a different color.
Yeah, they're
stuff
different
like that.
colors. Yeah.
There's just so many. And then we talked about the set pieces of all the different sets that they had for the music, like their musical numbers and stuff like that. There was a very specific shot too. It was when Harley went to visit him, like during like visiting hours. You know, they have like the whole like the glass in front of them and they're talking and she starts
the
singing.
lipstick.
Yeah. That shot too, but it was even before that. It was just the way they had it framed because I thought it was cool because like at first she's sitting just to stand up and she's like dancing, and because they're the only ones in there, so it's like everything is empty. You're looking at her like through a frame, and then behind her you see the other frames of like the other like because they're all blocks
Stalls or whatever.
Yeah, and then you see him kind of framed off in another angle too, and then another frame behind. So it's like there's all like these frames. It's like perfect. Like framing is obviously like just like perfect. Like it's like they're all it's like they're in windows, and it's like a cool thing. It's like she's dancing, and then again, I do like the little she puts the smile, and then he goes into it. Perfect smile. I was like,
Yeah.
that whole section. I was like, man, they're really they're on one with this movie, just like the last one.
Exactly. Yeah. The last one we had. Oh, yeah, you're right. It looked amazing too. This one, yeah, looks great. It's a good pick. I think the content of the story is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
But to take that and make it visual, like that's what makes the best movies, right? Is when you have both.
Oh, for
and
sure.
You're right. There's tons of good shots. There was the one, I shout out in the jail cell looking through the window. It looks amazing. And then
Yeah, it really does.
when they escape and you mentioned in the rain with the umbrellas and they're different colors, and then that's when we see it from overhead, and then when we see it from the front again, they're back to black.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure. I was like, does this mean something? I wasn't exactly sure, but it was a cool idea for a shot. I liked it. And then what I liked too was when Joker and Harley are like when the piano goes on fire.
Yeah.
And they go outside, and then the helicopter, right, has the spotlight on them, but they use it as like a spotlight in a show, like they're on stage and they're dancing and singing. I thought that looked really cool too.
No, that was really cool too. Yeah, there's so much thought that went into it with like everything. Like we talked about the songs, the stories, the cinematography. It was just great. And it's interesting. This movie is just
I don't get the hate. I like it.
It's getting a lot of hate. And well, we say we don't get the hate, but I think we do also. I think we get it. It's just we understand
right.
that it's like it's a DC movie and it has the Joker getting killed in it and they're singing and it's just like this is not for everybody. But the hate is excessive because we were nice for the most part about from last week with doing Megalopolis.
That movie.
The fact that this movie and Megalopolis are right now are getting the same amount of hate, like
that's criminal.
The rate is criminal.
That's criminal.
Like people are gonna look at it and be like, "Oh, should I watch? Oh, I don't want to watch Megalopolis or Joker." Like they're both rated really badly. It's not the same movie. There was consequence in this movie.
Yeah,
things mattered in this.
Things mattered in this movie. You're right. Yeah, that Megalopolis is just a clusterfuck of set pieces that none of it makes sense. And cohesive story are two words not in Francis Ford Coppola's vocabulary at this point of his career. This movie makes sense.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like there's good, there's some bad too, but like. Overall I enjoyed the movie. It was a good movie. I would watch this again. Megalopolis, I have no interest in watching again.
Exactly. Like the fact that like because I tried to avoid a lot of the hate, but I'm seeing that's like, oh, this is going to be one of the lowest rated DC. It's like it's on the par with what's it called? Morbius. I've never seen
not
Morbius.
Justice League,
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad
With the Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't think Suicide Squad is that bad either. Like I think there's issues with that, but I don't think it's complete garbage. Like I don't think it's
I haven't rewatched it, so I'm a little
okay.
I only saw it the one time in theaters. I hated it, so I didn't go back.
Okay. I just don't think this movie is a 5 out of 10 movie. It's probably gonna get even lower as we're talking because people are just
I think
are hate bombing it. Yeah, which is
I think it's
absurd.
in the 40s on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is absurd.
I mean we talk about this every time.
Yeah.
Like that shit doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything, but it's just the idea of that. Like if someone wants to go maybe check out the movie and they're seeing that, it's gonna stop people from seeing the movie, which is kind of annoying because I'm like, it doesn't deserve that low of a rating.
No, well that's why we're here doing our part.
That's true.
Saying we enjoyed the movie. Go check it out. I don't think it was as good as the first one. You said the same thing, but it's still a good movie. Go check it out.
Go check it out.
Thank you everybody for listening. We really do appreciate it. Be sure to follow us, subscribe, all that fun stuff on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at The Film Room Pod. We will see you next week. And Dion, what do you got for us?
First of all, I just want to apologize for all the coughing and stuff. Your boy had the vid. I'm just recovering from it.
Oh, you said we were sick.
Okay. I got COVID, bro.
Damn.
And I'm healing from it, but we good. We still out here.
You got what you deserve.
I got what I deserve. But for the closing, though, I want to sing a little song just for you guys.
It's a musical. It's a musical, everybody.
Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy, and get excited for next Wednesday. Peace out.